Bernie Wrightson and Len Wein created one of the most iconic horror characters we've ever seen in Big Two comics in the mainstream. That character was Swamp Thing, and that's the subject of today's video. And we're back. So this is the continuation of the Horror Halloweens episode. 31 days of me showing off horror comics. Hit the bell notification icon and subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos. There is a handy dandy playlist where I have all of these videos for the month too, so you can catch up on any ones that you missed out on. So today we're talking about Absolute Swamp Thing by Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson. This is a beautiful, beautiful collection. One of the best collections I think DC's come out with in recent years. It does come in a slipcase. If you're not familiar with the Absolute editions, I'm going to show off the slipcase here. It says Swamp Thing by Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson right there. Absolute. On the back you get some more artwork. Kind of wraps around from the front. And then the cover is this beautiful mossy finish. Really you have to kind of experience this in person to notice how beautiful this is. But it's like a mossy finish because we're talking Swamp Thing, right? And then on the spine we have this gold text right there. In gold DC logo. Nice and shiny. And on the back we have, it's mostly plain, but you see a little picture of Swampy right there with a root growing from the bottom. We have beautiful end papers here on this side. And then on the back we get more end papers of Batman, because Batman does appear in one of these issues. So this came out a couple years ago, and I really do think it's one of the best collections DC come out with, and I'm going to talk about that. Talk about why, and it has to do with the restoration. Get a title page there. All the credits here. You'll see color restoration by Jose Villarrubia. That's the main reason why this is so beautiful, I think. But you get art by Bernie Wrightson, also some issues by Nestor Redondo, Jeffrey Catherine Jones, and Alan Weiss, Michael Coluto. Letters by Gaspar Salandino, Bill Oda, Marcos Pelea. And then written by Bernie Wrightson and Len Wein. Here's a great table of contents, and it's dedicated to Len and Bernie. And then here's the introduction by Len Wein. This was written in 1991 for one of a trade paperback or something, some sort of collected edition for Swampy back in the day. And this is written by Christine Vallada, and written in March 2022, which I think is where this came out. And this is Len Wein's widow. And then the forward number 2 is Liz Wrightson, who was Bernie's widow. Now this collection does come with maybe no ribbon. Okay, I lied. There's no ribbon for this collection. I thought there was going to be a ribbon. Yeah, no ribbon. Okay, so we start off with House of Secrets 92. This is the debut issue, the first appearance of Swamp Thing. Modeling the woman here is Louise Simonson, Wheezy, famous comic book editor and writer in her own right. And colorist too, I believe. And then you see Swampy in the back here. There is in the special features, there is images of, I think, Louise Simonson posing for that cover. Let me see here. Maybe? Oh, here it is. So there's a Wheezy Simonson actually posing for the cover, which is really cool. Some really good special features in the back too. All right, now we get into it. So this is on a glossy paper. You can see my light's kind of glaring on it. I'm trying to fix that. There we go. Okay, we got a shadow over here, but just ignore that because I don't want it to glare on the book. I want you to see the great artwork. It's a semi-gloss, though. It's not a high gloss. And Jose Villarrubia talked about that a little bit online, about how he would have preferred, I think he said he would have preferred matte paper, but it wasn't an option at the time. But he thinks that it turned out well on here anyways. And Jose Villarrubia is a great follow on social media for the reason of color restoration. We see he has a lot of great intelligent criticism of the way Marvel and DC typically restore their artwork. I think is that the end papers? Oh no, it's a different image, I think. Regardless. Because I think one thing that DC and Marvel do is that they don't take into account that these books were originally printed on like a cheap newsprint paper. Great image here by Bernie Wrightson with this car crashing into Swamp Thing. I always love that panel. So back in the day, they were printed on this cheap newsprint. So when the colorists back then, they took that into account when they printed when they chose the colors and everything, they colored the comics, that the newsprint was going to soak up the color in a different way. Now, when you take that exact same process and imagery and color and put on a high gloss paper that doesn't soak it in as much, it turns out to be like this garish, more flat color. And you lose a lot of the line work and the shadow and stuff that the colorists were building upon the artwork. That isn't there anymore when you do it that way. And plus, even when they recolor them, like in the Marvel Masterworks and stuff, I hate the garish, like, flat colors anyways. So Jose Villarrubia took the original issues and some notes from Bernie Wrightson himself to restore the color back to its natural component. I think there were some issues where he took some liberties based on Wrightson's notes, where Wrightson didn't like the way the color turned out on the final piece, and he was able to bring it the way that he wanted to. So that's all what makes this collection beautiful. It's the best way that these comics have ever looked, in my opinion, when you get them on oversized artwork. Now, Bernie Wrightson was an absolute master of horror comics and the way he drew horror. You can just see as I'm flipping through his pages, the monsters that he drew, the gruesome terror, the way he drew Swamp Thing as like this muscular creature, but also kind of this like wiry looking figure, like just unnatural. And then like this ominous images here with the cross hatching with this wolf creature coming to attack him. Just great stuff. Truly a master of horror. And like this transitions here that Wrightson would do with these characters when they're turning. This is a famous image that he drew. So Bernie Wrightson's magnum opus for his artwork probably is his rendition of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. If you're not familiar with that, just look up images online. It'll blow you away what he did with that. But before that, he was doing Swamp Thing with Len Wein, and just an awesome monster comic. It was proved to be super popular. Like I said, it debuted in House of Secrets '92, and then months later, DC implored them to bring it back. Now, there is some discussion of, or some conflict of whether Swamp Thing ripped off of Man Thing or Man Thing off of Swamp Thing, and Len Wein's part that he took place in the creation of both. That doesn't really interest me at all, that conversation, because the characters diverge. Like, they do, like, on their surface look the same or similar. They're both swamp creatures, but they divert into completely different paths for how the characters are written and what they evolve into. So anyways, I love these transitions. Like, this is like cartooning right here, and like almost an animated sequence of these panels that Bernie Wrightson would do. But this is a really great collection. It shows, here's Batman with the long ears on his cowl, reminiscent of something that Kevin Nolan would do later. Kevin Nolan is a big fan of Bernie Wrightson, so you can see Bernie Wrightson's, the way he drew Batman was really cool. But a really great collection. This doesn't collect everything that you got in the Swamp Thing Bronze Age omnibus, but the issues in that omnibus are not restored by Jose Villarrubia. Those issues will have like that, the not so great restoration that I talked about. Another choice by Jose that I like too is like the paper was colored to look a little bit more off-white. It's not that super high, bright, pearly white paper on the outside of it, which lends the artwork to not stand out so much. Or not, sorry, maybe not stand out's on the right, not the right word, but the white would stand out above the artwork because it's such a kind of a garish looking, like, eye-popping thing. That's a choice that I think Marvel and DC should do more often. It's something that Fantagraphics did with like the Carl Barks library. That was being restored by, dang it, what's the name of that cartoonist? Rich Tommaso. That he chose to not do super high quality, high gloss white paper. He made it just a little bit off white to make the artwork really kind of sing on the page. But yeah, so this only includes the issues that Len Wein wrote, which includes 12 issues or 13 issues that Bernie Wrightson drew on. The last 3 issues in this book are drawn by Nestor Redondo, but still written by Len Wein, so that's why they're included in here. That omnibus includes, I think, like 20 plus more issues beyond that before we get to the Alan Moore run. Those issues were kind of like Monster of the Month type deals. They're worth reading, but in my collection, what I really want is just the Wrightson Len Wein stuff to have a permanent place in my collection to where I'm going to reread these. Those other issues, like, they're not bad, but they're probably not anything I'm going to reread. And if you're also wondering, if you're coming across this video from knowing where to start with Alan Moore, I think if you get this, you'll get a feeling for the Swamp Thing character. And this is Nestor Redondo, but that's such a great monster right there. Nestor Redondo was a great fit to take over after WRIGHTSON. But the thing also about Alan Moore is that by the first 2 issues, he totally flips the character on its head and writes a completely different way of the character and kind of reboots him in a small way. So it's not even super necessary to read this, but if you're wanting a sample of what Swamp Thing was like before Alan Moore, you can't do any better than this. Giant dinosaurs. Again, this is Nestor Redondo on this artwork here. All right, so in the back, we have a lot of extras. So I want to go over that real quick. You have the house that Swamp Thing built. This is talking about the House of Secrets and the behind the scenes of it, with Louis Simonson, Alan Rice, and Michael Kaluta talking about it. And it's a little interview about them and the making of it, and Bernie Wrightson and those thoughts. We have these film strips, which is great, of some modeling that, because Bernie Wrightson would use a lot of photo reference, but he would model people and model figures. He'd even had, I think there's a bust in here where he physically made a bust of Swamp Thing to get the lighting right on these things. Here's an original art piece rescanned for the first issue, and some original art pieces. I do like that you don't have full pages, which is, obviously I'd prefer full pages, but to put them in here like this is kind of cool. It's kind of a different presentation for the original art. Maybe they only had so many pages they could put together anyways, so to get some extras in there. Great splash piece. Even has like the indicia on the bottom. And then here's a sketch that he did for one of the pages, Bernie Wrightson. There's a lot of black and white original and art pieces. Like, it's amazing to see Bernie Wrightson's artwork in black and white. I would even buy a collection of just his entire Swamp Thing run in black and white. Here's Wrightson doing different renditions of Swamp Thing over the years, which is fun. Him doing like a birthday card, it looks like, for somebody. Here's a Roots of Swamp Thing, which is the painted cover, painted by Wrightson, and this is what was used for the Absolute slipcase. Was that image right there, which is really cool. And a glimpse of what might have been preliminary artwork on Swamp Thing Deja Vu. So here's some thumbnail pieces of what could have been. I think this might have been I think mid-'80s, Len Wein and Wrightson were going to reunite for one issue or one graphic novel or something, and it never got completed. Here's Len Wein drawing some Swamp Thing, because Len Wein was an artist in his own right. And I love his style. He has like very Charles Addams kind of look to his art style. I don't know, does he have a lot of published pieces as an artist? Let me know in the comments. I would like to know, because I do kind of like his style. A little bit more cartoony. Here's the bust that he made. So Bernie Wrightson, when he wanted to draw Swamp Thing, he literally created this and then wanted to turn it around to get like the lighting perfectly for it. Oh wait, no. Okay, never mind. This was created by Bernie Wrightson's son, John. It was gifted to Lynn and Christine. Okay, so this wasn't created by Bernie Wrightson, but he would do that. Here's like a timeline of when he needed to have the scripts done and things. Then here's a little scrapbook of Bernie and Len Wein together, which is really cool. And that's it. So a really, really beautiful collection. Let me know in the comments what you think of this book. I think it's some of the best horror comics that DC's ever produced. And this Absolute's a must-have for the presentation alone. Bernie Wrightson's just a magnificent horror artist. And I cannot celebrate 31 Days of Horror Halloween without talking Bernie Wrightson. Let me know in the comments, though, what you think about this book and what your favorite Bernie Wrightson books are. And also be sure to hit the bell notification icon and subscribe, because you don't want to miss out on any of the 31 Days of Halloween that I'm doing of horror comics. And go back and watch the other ones I did in previous days. Thank you guys, and keep talking comics.